What's going on, and welcome to another live edition of Real Fans Real Talk. Is this the first one? I think this might be the first one of the year. Is this the first one of the year?
This is the first one of 2024, my brother.
This is the first one of the year, man. Well, we gonna start the year off with a bang, then. But let me introduce my co-host first, my brother Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games. What's going on, man?
What's really good, man? Another amazing night, another great week of sports. It's bittersweet because the regular season's over now, Trip. It's only playoff time now,
It
and
is.
but again, we got a lot to get into and so much to discuss today.
Yes, yes, yes. And I'm so happy to end off the year like this. I didn't think I was going to get to throw this Giants hat back on, what I mean, excuse me, to start the year. But I didn't think I was going to get to throw this Giants hat back on, but they came and they played some great football today, and they helped the Eagles to get, to lose their spot, their shot at getting the NFC East crown. And I love that. They smoked their boots today. It got so bad that they had to bench Jalen Hurts. Now I know they ain't gonna say it's because the game was out of hand already, and the Cowboys already had won their game, but they was getting beat so bad. The Eagles had to take Jalen Hurts out that game and save him from further embarrassment.
So I believe it was last week's episode, the end of the year. You put up the clip where we talked about the Eagles, and I
Mhm.
said that I lost a lot of faith in them, and that not only were the 49ers a better Super Bowl pick, but I also felt the Cowboys had passed the Eagles as well.
Mhm.
A couple people hit me up directly, Trip. Nah, you dogging the Eagles. Nah, you bugging. I mean, I don't think I'm bugging now. With an opportunity to play for their division. Granted, I didn't think Dallas was going to lose to the Commanders. But if you're the Eagles, you still knew there's an opportunity to win the division. Let's come out. Let's put a good showing. Let's put our best foot forward going into the playoffs next week. They got absolutely dominated in the first half of that game,
Yes.
and throughout the game. They've only made it respectable now with a touchdown late, but they were dominated by a Giant team that had nothing to play for. The Eagles had to take Jalen Hurts out, as you mentioned, for fear of him getting hurt because he had already been sacked several times in this game, and they were starting to talk about the finger injury he sustained a few weeks ago. The Eagles are in bad shape. I would not put any faith in the Eagles heading into the playoffs.
I agree with you 1000%. Yeah, I think I might need to repost that post because so that people can see, they didn't want to listen to you last week when you were saying it, Eric. So I think I should repost that one. But yeah, they had an opportunity, to possibly get back in and steal the NFC East title. Obviously, Dallas struggled out the gate versus Washington in a division game. Ultimately, they got it together. CeeDee Lamb did what he's been doing all season. Two touchdowns today, and the Giants just says, you know what, we don't like y'all that much. We're not gonna be part of y'all. Just think y'all gonna just cruise on in. No, 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 no. We're gonna stop all of that, and we're gonna put some work in, and that's what they did today. Big shout out to the Giants. Eric, I've been pushing for them, to take all season because it's been pretty
Yeah,
bad.
it's too late at this point.
Yeah, but they're not gonna get the pick I needed them to get. So if they did have to win a game, I'm glad it was against the Eagles, and it was the game that helped to stop them from winning the division. So shout out to the Giants on that one.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I can still get a nice little pickup in the draft because they're still gonna have a pick in probably like the top five. So hopefully,
It'll definitely be like a top 6 or 7 pick. I got to double check after today. Um, Bears obviously got the number 1 overall pick. You're gonna have who else? Arizona is gonna be a top pick. I think the Commanders are locked in at number 2 right now. So it'll probably be a top 6 pick for the Giants. Mel Kiper has released his top 10 players, and there are multiple quarterbacks in that list because Michael Penix from Washington has just creeped into his top 10, along with Derek May from North Carolina, and of course Caleb Williams, who's projected if not go number 1, definitely go number 2, because I don't think the Commanders would pass on Caleb Williams. So there's a possibility the quarterback could be there, but the Giants have a couple holes they got to fill as well.
obviously. Let me say this. Let me big shout out to Don Tall Wright 602. My man was in the building earlier. I love that. I love that kind of support, man. Big shout out to him. Let me throw that comment up on the screen. He says thoughts on today's NFL games and the ones over the weekend. Well, obviously, I'm excited about that game right there. But we had some really good football this weekend. A couple of playoff spots. A couple of division titles were decided today. We got one big game tonight at 8:20, which is going to determine who wins the AFC East between the Bills and the Dolphins. And I'm really looking forward to a shootout in that one because we haven't really got one of those good back and forth shootouts this season. Every time we had two of the top teams go against each other, it was either a very defensive game or it was a blowout. So I'm hoping tonight will be a shootout.
I don't know if we're gonna get a shootout. The last time I saw Miami was already down, I think 19 players on the injured list, and it's very real that they may limit some of their starters tonight. Granted, you want to win the division, but neither one of these teams by winning the division would get a bye. You still got to play next week. So if you're
Yeah,
Miami, you got to be smart at this point. If you're Miami, you already lost your two starting defensive ends for the year in Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. You know Jalen Waddle's been dealing with some injury. You know Raheem Mostert's been dealing with some injuries. So you got to try to go into the playoffs as healthy as possible and hope you can make some noise. On the flip, Buffalo catches a huge break because the Jags lost today. So Buffalo's already got their spot in the playoffs as well. Buffalo would like to win the division just to force somebody to come to Buffalo and play. But ultimately, again, both these teams will have to play next week.
yeah, I agree. NFC South. We didn't know what was going to happen. The division was horrible. They still all looked horrible today, with the exception of the New Orleans Saints. Derek Carr 4 touchdowns today in the early game. And they dominate in that game from start to finish pretty much. The Bucks do get the division, but I'm gonna tell you, man, I think it's gonna be a one and done because the way they look versus the Panthers, who are by far the worst team in football, only being able to put up 9 points
Three
against
field
that
goals. That's
team.
it.
Um, I thought it was gonna be a little bit better than that, especially with the division on the line. Shout out to the Bucks defense because they definitely held it down, but 9 points when you get to these teams in the playoffs, and basically every other team in the playoffs has an explosive offense. When you get to those teams, 9 points ain't gonna work. You're gonna have to have some offense. They're gonna have to. Baker Mayfield's gonna have to make some plays. Those receivers are gonna have to make some plays. White, the running back, he's been doing what he can do, but those receivers are gonna have to make some plays. Because ain't no way 9 points is gonna beat a Cowboys team. Is gonna beat a 49ers team.
No, they're not even gonna play none of them teams. I
Or
don't think they. Yeah, I don't think they even get past the wild card weekend. So
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's gonna be one and done.
yeah. Ironically, we started off talking about the two teams that are probably going to match up because the way it shapes up right now, the Bucks winning their division will be the fourth seed,
Mhm.
and Philly will be the fifth seed. So they would play in the first round matchup. So you got the Bucks, who have struggled the last 2 weeks because they lost to the Saints last week and then only put up 9 points this week against a Philly team that's struggling for the last month and a half. So obviously, one of those teams will have to advance. But it could be an ugly game because again, they have not played good football at all.
Yeah, I agree. AFC South, we talked about that division last week as well. It was pretty much up for grabs, and it seems that the young boy CJ Stroud said, "This is up for grabs. I'm gonna be the one to take it. I'm gonna get to the playoffs in my first year. I'm gonna get offensive rookie of the year." And I know last week, Eric, you took the coach of the year away from my guy, but I think you might have to walk that one back, because of them winning the division and ultimately moving on to the playoffs.
Yeah, D'Amico Ryans is going to win Coach of the Year. I still like everything I said about Shane Steichen, but obviously when you lose that game and you don't make the playoffs, it makes it very tough for you to get the votes over D'Amico Ryan, who also was a first-year head coach, who had a rookie quarterback, who had a team who had the number 2 overall pick in last year's draft, who somehow won 10 games and made the playoffs. So D'Amico Ryans has jumped over Shane Steichen, in my opinion, and over Kevin O'Connell. Kevin Stefanski. Sorry, Kevin Stefanski in Cleveland. I think D'Amico Ryan should get it now.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations to them. I don't know what the heck was going on with the Jaguars today, man. They were just out of sync. And they were in the perfect position to win that division, and they blew it today. So again, to the victor goes the spoils. Congratulations to the Texans. Shout out to Ron Charles. I'm gonna throw his other comment up here because we had a couple of record breakers this season. Shout out to Puka Nakua, breaks the NFL rookie receiving yards record. You gotta love that, especially if you're the Rams. I don't know how many more years Cooper Cup is gonna have, especially now. We're seeing he's starting to get injured a little bit more and more. But you basically got Cooper Cup 2.0 in Puka Nakua because that's how he was looking this entire season, and ultimately he goes on to break that rookie receiving yards record.
Yeah, and I'm very interested. I know we won't get the times of these playoff games until at probably tomorrow or maybe Tuesday, but the Rams are going to be the sixth seed in the NFC. They're going to be going to Dallas, which I think is going to be a very entertaining game. Probably one of the best games of next weekend, Wild Card Weekend.
Yeah. Yep. Loving it, loving it. We got some action, man. We don't got that much time left, but it's gonna be really good from this point on. It's gonna be everything is gonna be good football from this point
It's
on.
it's going to be great matchups next week, man.
Exactly. Shout out to we got to shout out Sam Laporta as well, the tight end from the Detroit Lions. He also broke the rookie tight end record. He did, however, get injured in that game. Hopefully for the Detroit Lions, he's able to be 100% or as close to 100% as possible for their first their wild card weekend matchup because he was very important to them this entire season. We spoke about him last week. He in that Cowboys game when he was just doing whatever he wanted to do basically that entire game, and that's how he's been playing this entire season. We know a year ago they trade Hawkinson, and you follow that up with with Laporta, who might be even better than that, and he's having a great season. So congratulations to him as well on breaking that record. Oh, I think can we like say it now? Is the MVP race is officially over now?
I thought we knew that already after his performance against the Miami Dolphins.
Well, I mean, we knew that, but I'm just saying, for like, is it okay now for the guys that didn't want to say yes, it's Lamar Jackson? Is it okay for it to be the official thing now? Because obviously, we saw the guys that we said were runner ups. Um, Christian McCaffrey got hurt last week. He missed a lot of that game, and then he didn't play again this week. So I think that would pretty much knock him out of the box. Now, unless Tyreek Hill catches for 300 yards and like 4 touchdowns today, I think it's safe to say this is Lamar Jackson's award, and he'll be
Absolutely.
time MVP.
Yeah, there's I don't think there's any debate. It doesn't matter what Tyreek does today because winning the MVP is also about storylines and the fact that the Ravens have the best record in football, number one overall seed,
Mhm.
and Lamar's the best player on that team. That is going to supersede anything Tyreek does today. Tyreek can have a 250-yard day today, but if Miami loses and they don't even win the division, I don't see
Oh
how
yeah,
we can name Tyreek the MVP of the league. It's Lamar. It was Lamar. I think once they beat the 49ers, he officially became the favorite. Once they dismantled the Dolphins, it was his award. Lamar Jackson is going to be a two-time MVP of the NFL.
exactly. Now I will say this: if Christian McCaffrey doesn't get hurt in that game, it's possible. You know what I'm saying that you could have made the case because he has been the best player on that
Mhm,
team, and they would also have the number one record in the NFC.
mhm.
So you could maybe argue the debate, even though I would still say the edge goes to Lamar Jackson just because they beat the 49ers, this season. But so okay, again, officially it is we're gonna see a two-time champion. Shout out to Kyrie.
Two-time MVP. Take
I
it
mean,
easy. Two-time MVP.
sorry, two-time NFL MVP. Texans hail Stroud for teams return to playoffs. Yeah, man, we've been talking about this young man all season. Missed a couple of games, but the Texans were able to hold on. Shout out to those wide receivers because we Noah Brown had a game where he had like 190 yards. Nico Collins finishes the season with 190 yards receiving. Shout out to those receivers. They have definitely been a big part of that offense, and much respect to CJ Stroud because starting going into this season, tell you right now, 85% of the world did not know Noah Brown was a Tank Dell or Nico Collins. I'm gonna tell you that right now.
Yeah, that's a fact.
But the combination of them and CJ Stroud, you know, you know them brothers now. They are on the map. They have balled out this season, each having their separate games. Obviously, Dell got hurt, and one, he's done for the season. But Nico and Noah Brown, they've been going back and forth this season. Oh, you got 150 today? All right, I'm gonna get 160. You got 160, I'm gonna get 190. And they have been rocking and rolling this whole season. I don't see the Texans moving on past the wild card round, but for a team that coming into this season had no business making the playoffs, winning the division, any of those things, we did not look at the Texans for, and to come in this season and do that with the rookie quarterback, first year head coach with the team, you got to put some respect on their names.
Absolutely. It is all about CJ Stroud. He came in, we got to remember, this was the team that had the number 2 overall pick. They didn't upgrade much of the offensive talent aside from the quarterback position. They also lost their first 2 games of the year. And then after that, they went 10-5 the rest of the season. So CJ Stroud was amazing this year. I don't even think he threw his first interception until like week 7.
Yeah.
Right here, I went a long streak without even throwing an interception. He has been phenomenal all year. He has been the stabilizing factor in turning this thing around for them. And we always say as well, the quarterback is the most important position in football. He's the quarterback. He's turned this thing around. So he deserves a lot of the praise. Now, D'Amico Ryans has done a great job. I also think their front office deserves a lot of credit because for all the talk about CJ Stroud, let's not forget, they also drafted Will Anderson Jr., who had 8.5 sacks this year. Last year, they drafted DJ Stingley, who's an up-and-coming cornerback. So they are a very good young team that's going to be around for quite some time, I think. And CJ Stroud is just the leader of that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, Dontel, we definitely shouted out Laporta, and again, hoping he's back for their wild card matchup because the Lions have an explosive offense, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do um in the playoffs with that young core that they have. Obviously, St. Brown, another year being amazing, one of the top wide receivers in football. They got a hell of a dynamic duo at running back with David Montgomery and Gibbs, who they drafted this year as well. That 1-2 punch has been amazing this season. So we are looking forward to that. See, here go Pool. You getting messy too early in the show, man. We come on, man. I'm gonna put this comment up here, Pool, just because so we talking about the NFL, and Shannon is Shannon Sharp. That's my guy. That's Unc. So I'm gonna put this comment up just for you, Pool. All right. The biggest story in all is Shannon Sharp's interview with Cat Williams that broke YouTube records. Just overall thoughts on it, and I don't think he lied much at all. Shannon got to be happy. Um, I'm happy for Shannon Sharp. Let me just first and foremost say that I think he deserves this kind of notoriety. The last time I checked, the interview was at about 30 million views.
Probably, yeah.
In 3 days. It's probably more by now because that was a couple of hours ago. I saw it was at 30 million, so it's probably more by now. But I'm very happy for Shannon Sharp. He definitely deserves that. As far as Cat Williams and what he said, I believe most of it, to be honest with you. And there were several people who kind of validated what he was saying as well. Even Ice Cube, for the most part, came out and said, most of that was true. Now, he did say with as far as the Ricky Smiley situation, he did say that Ricky Smiley wasn't lying. But again, two things can be true at the same time. It could have been Ricky Smiley's part first, but then when Cat Williams came in, they were like, nah. We gotta, give it to Cat Williams. So with that, I will say, that's why I'm glad Ice Cube actually came out and spoke and commented on everything. But yeah, I'm with Cat on this one. I believe most of the stuff he was saying.
I agree too. I think for the most part, he's probably telling the truth. I mean, obviously, it's we're not there to know what parts of the story are a lie. Obviously, some parts are probably exaggerated, but I mean, I don't think there's much to make of it because I think this is what happens a lot of times behind the scenes. Hollywood is a very competitive place. These guys are all bidding for the same jobs. You got to remember when Cat Williams was at his peak and then Kevin Hart started to come in, people were already pitting them against each other. So this is what happens, I think, a lot of times. And I think Cat probably is just at a point in his career where he's just fed up with not getting the respect he feels he's due. Whether it's stealing the jokes, whether it's Ricky Smiley telling that part of the story, which Cat may feel offended by, because I have heard Cube say in the past that a majority of the Money Mike character is Cat Williams in terms
Yes.
of the wardrobe, in terms of the lines, because there's a lot of blooper reels from that movie where he gives him and Mike Epps a lot of improv
Yes.
freedom in those movies. So I could understand why he would be upset by that. If you put yourself into a character and you develop something, you don't want somebody else taking credit for it. So I can understand why he's upset.
Yeah. And then, Cube coming to him to write the Last Friday movie. I thought that was dope. Now I will say this. I know the whole time in Shannon Sharp's mind, he was just going crazy, just like, oh my God, I hope I don't get canceled behind this interview. Cause there was some things that Cat said, that some people gotta answer to. One of the things was the whole Harvey Weinstein thing. Which hey, listen, know what I'm saying? The reason I would believe that one is because why would you just say that if that didn't actually happen? Like that, like, you know what I mean? Like, why would you come out and say Harvey Weinstein offered to do this sexual favor? You know what I'm saying? That doesn't make you look better just by making something like that up. So
Uh, but I don't think he was really lying about that because correct me if I'm wrong. I remember years ago Terry Crews had came out and talked about people in Hollywood trying to proposition him with, I'll get you this role if you do this sexual favor, this and the third. And then I think they came out later on and said Harvey Weinstein was one of those people that actually tried to
yeah,
get Terry Crews in a compromised position. So I don't doubt that at all, that Cat Williams is saying that. I mean, we've heard from many people in entertainment who have said Harvey Weinstein approached him in that way.
yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So I definitely believe that. Like, cause why then? Why would you make something like that up? If he was gonna make some stuff up, I'm not gonna make up some man tried to offer a sexual act to me. That's not something I'm just gonna make up.
Right.
Like, I don't even, you know what I'm saying? Like, that didn't even make sense. So I'm like, damn, that's crazy. And then we hear stories, and sometimes we have people that's in the know in certain places, and they understand. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of stuff that's going on behind the scenes. Being in film for all of these years and being around the people that I've been around, like I've been privy to a lot of different conversations about certain people that you need to watch out for, that's what I'm saying, out here on some BS. So, I'm happy for Cat Williams that he was able to finally speak his truth. And again, I'm happy for Shannon Sharp because the numbers on this interview are going crazy. To have 30 plus million views on a damn near 3 hour interview is crazy. Like, that is crazy. So big shout out to Unc on that one. Let me see what else we got in the NFL. Belichick. This might be his last game as the Patriots head coach and GM. Um, if that is the case, he does go out with a loss to the Jets. So he does go out as a loser. Do you think this will be his last game? Like, is that going to be official?
I think so. I think the fact that a few weeks ago a reporter directly asked him about this being the end of his tenure. A lot of times you got to read between the lines. When reporters start asking those questions, that means they've gotten intel from someone within the organization that's telling them, "Hey, it's just about over." So I think there's that. I also think that he sees the writing on the wall. The Patriots are a bad team. They're going to move on from Mac Jones. They're going to have to hit the reset button again. And I just don't think he's in a position where he's going to want to be patient enough for that. He's
Yeah.
done some great things there, but he's very close to breaking Don Shula's all-time wins record. And I don't think that it's surprising. We're starting already here this week that the Chargers were putting feelers out in regards to Harbaugh, in regards to Belichick. He's going to get opportunities from teams that are in far better positions than the Patriots right now. It's going to be too tough for him to turn that down.
Absolutely. Let me go back because I seen this comment came in about what we were talking about with so I just want to throw this up. Shout out to Lene Chanel Jones. She says, this in general, why do people gotta do sexual ish? It's an actor that says Tyler Perry sexually assaulted him, the puffy ish. Damn, we can't just act or sing or rap. Um, I can't speak on Tyler Perry because I haven't heard about that one, so I'm not sure. But again, I I don't put that past anybody because anybody could be involved in something like that. So I don't. It's not like I put it past anybody, but I haven't heard about that one. the stuff with Puffy, just because I have a lot of firsthand knowledge of things that have gone on because of my relationship with Big Gene and all the stuff that he was around during the Bad Boy era, Puff buying the butt plugs and all that stuff, and all the other wild stuff that he was into. But yeah, I don't understand it either. The only thing I can say is there are a lot of people who aren't fortunate enough to be, I guess, quote unquote, social butterflies. So when they get in positions of power, they'll use that to try to sway women or men to do certain things, because they understand that there are people in this world that will do something strange for a piece of change, and they're
Well,
going to take advantage of that.
let's not be naive, Trip. All right, let's call it what it is. We know, and Lene, I'm sure you've been in situations, whether with someone at work or someone you met socially. People love to abuse their power. Anybody who has a little bit of power is going to try to see how much power they can influence you with, and how much they can get you to do based on that power. And so when you're talking about names like Tyler Perry, again, I don't know the story there. I don't know how true that is or what the details are. And we know about the Puff situation. And the Puff thing is something we've been hearing for quite some time anyway. So let's not act like the Cassie lawsuit was something new. We
Yeah.
had heard stories. There's an iconic clip on YouTube from Exhibit from over 10 years ago when he's
Yes.
talking about a particular party they were at and some of the things he saw there.
Mhm.
So people in positions of power, some people, not all, love to abuse that power.
Yes.
So Puff ain't gonna be the first, he ain't gonna be the last, just like Harvey Weinstein, just like a lot of political figures. When they know they're in a position of power and they know that, as Tripp said, I can influence you to do things with this money or with this power because you want to stand next to me, they're
Yeah.
gonna abuse it. And unfortunately, it doesn't just happen in the entertainment world, because it happens in the workplace. We hear plenty of times about sexual harassment within a workplace where a supervisor is harassing a lady. So this is nothing new. We can't be naive to it. We know this is what takes place every day in the world, and it's important that we keep our morals and not compromise them based off somebody's power or influence.
Exactly. Exactly. So I don't, it sucks that we have to deal with that. Especially being someone who works, within this business. It sucks that's the way it's been for a long time. There's a lot of that stuff going on. But I will say this: the way to stop that kind of stuff from going on is, people have to step up and speak their truth when these things are happening. And I don't mean 10 years down the line and 20 years down the line. You got to speak up, I know it's not always easy to do that, but the best way to clean all that up is to speak all that out and let people know what's going on, so that these guys and women, because it's not just men, there are women that use their power to and take advantage of people as well. But
Right.
those people need to be removed from sports, from Hollywood, from music, from from the legal system, from politics, from everywhere, because there are predators in every field. And you know what I'm saying? So all of that stuff needs to be cleaned out. And the best way to do that is people have to start speaking their truth.
That's a fact.
So let me see. Kevon, shout out to Kevon. The Tyler Perry thing is the actor named Christian Keys sexually abused him. Google his name, you will see. Okay, that I did see. I did see Christian Keys. He had one on live and was speaking about it, but at that point, he hadn't said the person's name just yet. So I didn't know that he was referring to Tyler Perry. I'm definitely gonna do some homework on that to see, because when I had seen it, he was just talking about it happening. He kept saying he was gonna say who it was, but he hadn't said it yet. But if you're saying he said it was Tyler Perry, I'm definitely gonna look into it and see what's going on.
And I'm not saying Tyler Perry did it or didn't. I wouldn't be surprised though, because hurt people, right? And Tyler Perry, within the last few years, came out and talked about being sexually abused himself.
Yeah,
So I would not be surprised. Again, we always say hurt people like to hurt other people.
facts. So let me see. Oh, he still hasn't said his name, but he and all the Perry's. Oh, okay. So we don't know that for sure. Just said let's be clear, because I don't want to put that on nobody. I know we as a show don't want to just put that on somebody's jacket if that's not the if that's not the case. But he wasn't allowed to Tyler Perry's projects, so that
Hmm.
I can say he was. So some kind of like they, and it's not like they didn't know each other.
Right.
Know what I mean? So, anything's possible. Hopefully, it's not the case. Is because it really sucks when you know it's the people that are opening a lot of doors for us. And when I say us, I mean minorities that we don't always get the same push that we should get. Shout out to Taraji. She was emotional in the interview. I think about a week or two ago, just talking about you know how she's not being compensated the way she should, especially in accordance with her white counterparts. Um, so it sucks that when it's these people that are opening up so many doors. Tyler Perry got a lot of us working. You know what I mean? Got in whether it be movies, whether it be stage plays, whether it be TV. He's definitely put a lot of people in position to do well. So I really hope that that's not the case with Tyler Perry. But if it is, then you got to be held to the fire just like anybody else.
Yep.
It is what it is. Before we switch over, we got to shout out Jadavian Clowney and Chris Jones. Jadavian Clowney, I pause. He hit the quarterback because I can't even say. I didn't want to say he got. So I'm just gonna pause that what I was gonna say. But Clowney got a $750,000 bonus, and Chris Jones got $1 million bonus for breaking a couple of clauses they had in the contract, the little bonus clauses they had in the contract. So big shout out to both of them. Let me ask you this, Eric, because I was just thinking, right, as Chris Jones, if I only need one more, and it's the last week of the season, and I know I'm gonna get 1 million, I might just call up the quarterback I'm playing that week and just listen. If you see me, I'm saying, just drop down. I ain't gonna hit you, I'm saying, crazy. Just drop down so I can get that 1 million. I'll sling you 50,000. You know what I'm saying? 'Cause
Yeah,
I
if
need
you got a good relationship with the quarterback, or even with the old lineman, like, listen, on that third and long, I'm gonna beat you around the edge, just kind of, you know, get out your stance a little slow, and
word.
I get there, and then I got you. I'll take care of you.
Hey, listen, for 1 million, I got listen. I'm trying to get by, but he wound up still getting a shout out. So big shout out to him and to Jadavion Clowney. He's a big part of the reason the Ravens defense is
He's
playing.
had an amazing year with the Ravens this year.
Definitely a bounce back. Yeah, I hope we can keep him. I know that we just extended one of our DTs, so I hope we can still keep him because he's been a nice little boost on that line. So big shout out to both of those guys. All right, let's jump into some NBA. I see we got the comments. The comments are still coming in. I know we missed a couple of NBA comments, so let me go back up here. All right, Kevon, we going back to my man Kevon. Jordan Poole is averaging 7.6 points a game over the last 5 games. What has happened to him? What has happened to him is he doesn't have the benefit of having one of the greatest point guards of all time, two of the greatest shooters of all time, an enforcer and a veteran like Draymond Green. He doesn't have a coach like Steve Kerr. That's what happened to him. He's coming back to reality. It's different. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't go to a new place, become the number one guy, and it's lit for them automatically. That's not how it works. Jordan Poole, what we're seeing here is Jordan Poole is he damn sure ain't no superstar, but he ain't an all-star. He's a role player at best. And so I'm not surprised that he's playing this bad. I didn't think he was going to go there. Again, I only remember, and shout out to my guy KG, but he's the only one I remember saying that Jordan Poole was about to be an all-star this season. So I'm not surprised by this at all.
I'm not surprised by this at all because I just thought that Jordan Poole was a guy who played really well his contract year. Prior
Mhm.
to that, if you look back at the history, he never really played significant minutes for Golden State. He had that really good year for them when they won the championship, and then last year he came back down to earth. He's also in a bad situation. The Wizards are not interested in winning any games right now. The Wizards are more than happy to tank it away. There's no structure on that team. They kind of play your turn, my turn, where whoever brings the ball across half court is going to get their own shot up. So he's in a tough spot. He looks very unhappy there, and I think he's going to continue to struggle until he gets out of DC.
Well, he just got to, he just got to DC, man.
Yeah, but listen,
What are we
I
doing?
know I got some Wizards fans, that we do the live with on Fridays and that I talk to in the group chat. The Wizards are a really bad organization right now. There is no structure there. There's no foundation there. And for a guy like Jordan Poole, he's at his best when he has the veterans the way he had in Golden State.
Yes,
Where it's like you have a
X
specific
form.
right, you have a specific role, and we're not asking you to do anything outside of that role. Just catch fire off the bench. He went to the Wiz, and like you mentioned, guys like KG thought he was going to turn into Steph Curry over there, and that's not who his game is. He's a poor man's Jordan Clarkson. He's one of them type of players. He looks good coming off the bench on a good team. Jordan Clarkson's a better player, so I hate to put the two in the same conversation, but that's just who he is.
Yeah, Ron says Jordan Poole to become memes on social media is sad. Yeah, man.
He's going through it, bro. I ain't seen Jordan Poole with a haircut in months, so that's how you know he's going through it.
Ever since Shorty came through and he had a bad game, it's just been downhill. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And I get it, because sometimes when that fine thing come through to check you out and you don't, you know what I'm saying, live up to your part, that could put you on a little downward spiral. So I can understand. But he got to snap out of that and get it together. Yeah, I don't think Washington is the spot for him. Um, but it is what it is. I saw this coming a mile away. So hopefully he does better, but I highly doubt that. All right, let's get to it. Let's start the Laker bashing segment of the of the program. Y'all tell me how bad the Lakers is, and why I love LeBron so much. Let's get it out the way. Uh, Lakers have lost 10 of their last 13 and given a 12% chance to make the playoffs. Does LeBron affect winning anymore? Is the ball in his hands too much? Who else do you want to have the basketball
I was gonna say, what's the alternative though?
for the Lakers? Because AD ain't gonna be running the show. He ain't gonna facilitate the offense. So who do you want to have facilitating the offense? And again, the Lakers are more than likely going to make a couple of moves. So the team, the way it's constructed right now, it's most likely not going to look like it will come trade deadline. Um, but yeah, I mean they're struggling. LeBron said it himself. We're playing like trash right now. It happens. It is what it is. They have been struggling as of late. They got to get it together if they want to make the playoffs and try to make any type of run.
I mean, you could try to take the ball out of Braun's hands more, but like I said, what's your alternative? Are you trusting D'Lo to run more to offense? Um, which I mean, you could try it. I'm not opposed to it, but again, I'm not making too much of the situation with the Lakers because the Lakers' whole goal is to get into the playoffs, and they don't even care if they're the playing team. They
Yeah.
just want to get there as healthy as possible. So, for all the talk about how bad they're struggling right now, cool. And if they make a move after I would say after another week or two, right before the deadline, and then get hot in the second half like they did last year, then the narrative changes. 12% to make the playoffs really means nothing right now because we're not even at the All-Star break. So
Yeah.
I don't think again the Lakers. We got to stop talking about the Lakers. Lakers do not care about being a number one seed. Lakers do not care about having home court advantage. They just want to get to the playoffs as healthy as possible. I think this is more of a conversation we should have come early March after the trade deadline if they're still struggling like this.
Yeah. Let me go to Scoop Hoop's comment, and then I'm gonna go back to Imani's question. I'm the Lakers. Would I entertain trading LeBron James for a lot of pieces? I feel you get two or three good players and maybe some picks for LeBron. For the Lakers, good 3 or 4 years down the line with AD and the players you get for LeBron. LeBron being 39 in some ways holding the Lakers back. To me, in terms of their future, no, I would not entertain trading LeBron if I'm the Lakers, because whatever you get for him, you're not gonna win a championship. Like it just is what it is, because you're not getting superstars for superstar swap if you trade LeBron James. That ain't gonna happen. So no, I would not trade LeBron. That's one. And Even if you're talking about the future, one thing you got to understand with the Lakers is we got to be clear. Uh, Only one team is winning the championship every year, right? Even with the Lakers struggled, and we talked about this last week, there hasn't been too many teams that have accomplished what the Lakers have accomplished during LeBron's tenure with the team. So you know what I'm saying? Like we got to ease up. Nobody's trading LeBron. That ain't gonna happen. So I'm sorry if that's what you think is gonna help the team, but that is definitely not gonna help the team. Them trading LeBron. The only thing that's gonna happen is they really not gonna make the playoffs. That's it.
So I want to start with the second part of this question, right? Because I'm sorry, Scoop. This question makes me laugh because for you to say LeBron being 39 in some ways holding Lakers back to me in terms of their future. At what point when LeBron went to the Lakers was it ever about their future? When LeBron went to the Lakers,
But now,
within 1 year, they traded away every young asset they had on the team, did they not? So it was never about the future. It was always about trying to win while LeBron was there. And that's no knock on LeBron. He went there. He wanted to try to win in LA. It was never about the future. They traded Lonzo. They traded Ingram. They traded Hart. They ended up trading Caruso shortly after that. They got rid of guys right away. So it was never about the future. It was about maximizing LeBron's time in LA. That's first and foremost. The second piece, I don't think you're going to get a lot of good pieces for LeBron. And here's why. And that's not to say LeBron isn't still a quality player and a very good player.
yeah.
But here's why. If you're the Lakers and you trade LeBron, it's got to be a joint effort. You would have to sit down with LeBron and say, hey, we're going to trade you. Where are you comfortable going? Because there's no way that the Lakers would disrespect LeBron at this point in his career. Let's be real. He's the all-time leading scorer in the NBA. There's no way the Lakers would want the bad publicity that would come with just trading LeBron anywhere. They would sit down with him and collaborate on where he could go.
Yeah.
Once LeBron gives you that short list, right? Because it's going to be a contender. He's not going to the Brooklyn Nets. He's going to try to go to a contender. So when he gives you the list of contenders, he's also not going to want you to gut that team for him to go there. He's going to want to be able to go there so that they keep all of their pieces in play so that he can win a championship. So you might be able to get 2 future first round picks with some sort of lottery protection on them, but you're not going to get a bunch of players back. You're going to get some cap casualties. You're going to get some cap fillers, guys that are just fill the swap of the salary cap so that you can make the deal. But he's going to want to go somewhere where they get to keep their quality players so that he can make a run at a championship. So back to Tripp's point, if that's what I'm doing, then what's the point of making a trade? Because it doesn't make me better now, and it damn sure ain't making me better in the future because I'm not getting enough pieces to say, hey, we got X, Y, and Z moving forward. You're not going to really get the value that I think a lot of people think if you trade LeBron right now. Your best bet is to try to improve the roster around him and AD and make a run at another deep playoff push.
Exactly. Let me go to. I see Amani commented down here, and I'm gonna go back to the other one. Trip, let's be real. What players do anyone want the Lakers besides AD and the white boy? No one wants Russell Real. Then y'all got two players that's all defense and can't shoot. And that's what I'm saying. So nobody want nobody. They'll make a move though. They trust me. They'll definitely make a move. But yeah, a lot of those guys is not wanted around the league. So I don't know what they gonna do on that one.
Well, the Russell piece, is going to be the interesting one because you can trade him for an expiring contract for a team that's looking to maybe just bring in Russell's under contract and get rid of a piece. Lakers are going to have to give up another future first, which is something they already didn't want to do. Remember last year when they made the moves that they made. So that's really what it's going to have to be. Rui does not intrigue anyone. Gabe Vincent has not played well enough to intrigue anyone. Austin Reeves, maybe because his cap number isn't too crazy. And so if you get a developing team who would like to bring in Reeves, like a team like the Spurs, but the Spurs don't have the veteran pieces that the Lakers would want. Maybe the Jazz. Be on the lookout because I think the Jazz are going to flip Jordan Clarkson, who only has this year and I think next year on his contract. So he might be a guy that the Lakers try to bring in to improve some of the scoring punch off the bench and give them, quote unquote, the third guy. But I mean, Amani's right. There isn't much to really flip, and they don't have many draft picks to flip either.
And listen, when you rating the LeBron tenure with the Lakers, ask yourself, since LeBron has been with the Lakers, what team has more championships than the Lakers and more finals appearances than the Lakers? and then
Um,
the rest of the league ain't do nothing.
no, I mean you can't say that. I mean he's
Yeah,
won one.
nobody has one more. It's either they have the same amount.
Yeah, but he's only been with the Lakers 5 years. It's not like we're talking like a 10-year stint.
No,
Trip.
no, I know, but that's what my point is. Everybody's not winning championships like that. So the fact that they have one already and two finals, you know what I'm saying, and they've done what they've been able to do. You know what I'm saying, you got to cut them some type of slack. Obviously, they're struggling right now. We know they're going to struggle, but we'll see what they do during the trade deadline. Let me take this last. Well, actually, we got two more basketball comments. Trip, every time I watch, yo, come on, Imani, what we doing here? Every time I watch the Lakers and they lose, your big ass smile comes in my face. Pause. Anthony Davis has been dominant. Remember, y'all wanted this. They got Clippers tonight. You know what? The crazy thing is, all this struggling, the Lakers will mess around and beat the Clippers tonight. Like that. That's just how it be sometimes. Like they've been getting their butts kicked around the league, but they'll play the Clippers tonight and win.
Possibly the Clippers been playing well recently though. So maybe they catch the Clippers sleeping, but who knows? Again, man, I don't want us to put too much stock. 'Cause we did this last year, Trip. We put way too much stock in what the Lakers look like in the first half of the season. The moment they improved the supporting cast a little bit, they got hot in the second half of the season, and then we were having legitimate questions about could the Lakers come out of the West. So let's just at least give it another month. Let's see what it looks like after the trade deadline.
I think they missed the playoffs twice, but LeBron got hurt both of those years. So I ain't counting them years he got hurt. But when LeBron was healthy, they made it to the playoffs. All right. Shout out to Hoop Baller
I mean,
Scoop.
it's not. It's again, it's not much of a sample size trip because yeah, he's won one finals, but Denver won one finals, Golden State won one finals, Milwaukee won one finals.
And the
So
rest of the teams have it.
the
One nothing.
on, the only thing, if you want to use that argument, the only thing you could ask is which team has had more deep playoff runs. The only two teams that have really had deep playoff runs, other than the Lakers, who went to a finals and then went to a Western Conference Finals, you would have to say Miami, because Miami did go to two finals during that time
Yeah.
since he's been in LA. And Boston, who not only went to one finals, but I think Boston has also been in like three other Eastern Conference Finals during that 5-year stint. Other than that, it's just been one championship around the board.
Are you saying, but why is the injury is an excuse for LeBron? Or is that what you're saying? I'm just saying that just because that's me saying that. Well, yeah, generally I would, I don't really qualify the injuries. If your team makes it, you make it. But we know that if LeBron is there and he's when he's not there, there's a huge difference with that team. So I don't, what I'm saying, if he's missing 60% of the games because of injury, I don't expect the Lakers to make it to the playoffs in those seasons. Sean.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, Trip is trying to drag it a little bit with the who's won more since he's been in LA. Like he's only been there like 5 years, so it ain't much of a sample size. But in terms of excuses, I don't know. I mean, I don't think I've made excuses for Braun. I think I've been very real. And like I said from jump, even when he first went to LA, I said this was all about trying to win right now. And I felt like they gutted that roster way too soon. I thought he could have been a little bit more patient with some of those young guys. And I think it's showing now because they don't have much of a supporting cast. They didn't allow anybody to develop. They could have really they forced that trade for Anthony Davis. And I think they could have been a little patient and let some of them young guys develop a little bit more. We see what Brandon Ingram has become now. We know what Caruso was for them. We see what Kuzma was for them. Kuzma's another young guy they got rid of. So they had some young talent there that they really rushed out of there because Braun wanted to win immediately.
Yeah. Let me go to Ron's too. LeBron has to realize he can't be the first or maybe second option no more at this age. Yeah, he has a few great games. We'd be like, damn, but he's a third option. I ain't. That's jumping out the window on that third option stuff. At the end of the day, LeBron is still ranked in the top 10 coming into this season. So I'm not gonna go that far. But as far as him being the second option, that was supposed to be the goal, but there was no consistency from Anthony Davis. I
Prior
think
to the season, no.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, this is the first time where he's been healthy, and I hope he stays healthy and he's been playing consistent. Like he hasn't had too many bad games this season. So yeah, now, but this was something that was supposed to happen after they won the championship in the bubble. It was supposed to be all right. Now, LeBron showed you how to get to that point. Now it's your turn, young fella, to take over to be the number one guy. I'll be the number two, and then everybody else can just kind of rotate being number three.
Yeah, I mean to say he needs to be the third option at this age. All right, so who's going to be the first two options? Even if AD's the number one option, who's the number two? Braun is in a situation he has to be one of the top two options.
Yeah.
And this is what the Lakers signed up for. The Lakers knew this what it was. This is what they signed up for.
Right now, LeBron is in the top 10 player as of right now. He is a top 10. He was top. He was ranked in the top 10 in the
Yeah.
ESPN rankings coming into the season. Still a top 10 player. I'm
Trip,
not gonna do that.
Trip holding on to that ESPN ranking from earlier this year.
I was like, listen, I'm not even gonna let you do that. No, my guy Braun is still. Oh, you know what? We can talk about this one because I did see this. Did it come? Okay, here we go. Shout out to Justin. Looks like Frisian. I hope I'm not saying your name wrong, homie. But shout out to Justin. End of an era. KD is the 8th seed. Curry is the 10th seed. Braun is the 11th seed. The crazy thing is, I can't just say it's the end of an era yet because again, all three of those guys was in the top 10, so it's not the end of an era just yet. Now, obviously, they're towards the latter ends of this career. LeBron will probably be gone first out of those three, but Kevin Durant is still one of the most dominant players in basketball. Same thing with Steph Curry. So I'm not gonna just say just yet. And one and two, nobody's really put the stamp on the league. You know what I'm saying? Like to say, all right, now it's clear cut, we're the best team, right? Because you could argue Boston might be the best team in the league right now, but Denver just came off of winning the championship. You know what I'm saying? And Denver just won it, and before them, it was somebody else. They haven't. It's not like they won back to back. Now, if Denver goes out and win back to back chips, then we might say, all right, now it's the Denver's run now. But no, I don't think it's the end of an era just yet. Maybe I'm like I'll probably say like 3 years.
I mean, you could say end of an era, but really, all three of those teams have the same thing in common. They have lack of depth. They don't have much beyond their star players. We knew this was going to be an issue with the Suns outside of KD and Book, and whenever Beal decides to play, um, they don't have much after those three. Curry's really out there fighting by himself right now because Draymond ain't back yet and Clay looks like he's done, and the young guys really never developed there. And then it's Braun and AD in LA, and then it's a massive drop off between everyone else. So I think their seeding is more to do with the lack of talent around the stars as opposed to where those players are in particular, as you mentioned. Denver's a talented, deep roster. Um, Oklahoma City is for real, and they're not going anywhere.
Mm.
Dallas is up and coming. So end of an era somewhat, but to also Tripp's point, until somebody starts winning multiple championships or making multiple deep playoff runs, right now we just kind of flip flopping. Teams, one year is this team, the next year is that team. There's a lot of parity in the NBA right now.
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, I agree with Ron. Boston and Denver are the
I agree.
best teams in the NBA right now. But even like I say, even with Boston, you haven't won anything yet. So that's not you putting the stamp on the league just because you're the best. You look the best right now, in the league. Because at the end of the day, if you don't win that championship, you right back in the waiting pool like everybody else is.
Yeah,
So it is what it is. Let's show some love to the big homie, Shaquille O'Neal. Footballer Scoop dropped this comment in there. Shaq will become the first player ever to have his jersey retired with Magic. These youngins don't remember the Magic Shaq that was athletic and quick for a big. So I say he would have a title with Penny if MJ didn't come back. And three-peat. Remember, they put Jordan out when he wore 45. They did. I mean, who else would be the first jersey retired in Orlando but Shaquille O'Neal?
right.
You know what I'm saying? Like who else had that type of a run for the Orlando Magic? With I guess with the exception of Dwight Howard. I guess maybe they'll probably wind up retiring
The
Dwight
white,
Howard
yeah, the white to get
jersey
his number retired there too.
because he got all them defensive player of the years. They did make it to a finals. So the White will probably be the second one. But yeah, it's well deserved. I know they didn't win a chip, but they did get to the finals. And who knows if Penny doesn't get injured, who knows what happens with that team.
That's a fact. First of all, shout out to Hoop Baller School. These youngers don't remember the Magic Shaq. They don't remember nothing because all they do is watch highlights on YouTube, so they don't remember nothing. But Shaq is well deserved. Shaq is I detailed the story on Friday Nights Live. I remember one of the first times I really watched his game. It probably was his second year in the league, and at the time the Knicks were a very good team. Patrick Ewing was the best center in the league, and I remember there was a Sunday afternoon matchup with the Knicks and Magic where Shaq went for like something like 25 and 20 on Patrick Ewing, which at the time just seemed crazy again because Pat was the best center in the East.
Mhm.
But Shaq at a time where you had not only Pat, but Dikembe, Alonzo Mourning, David Robinson, a lot, Hakeem Olajuwon, a lot of great centers. Shaq was the first really athletic type center that can get up and down the court and do so many different things and dominate on both ends. And then, of course, the backboard shattering dunks. He was an amazing player. I think him and Penny had a lot more room to grow had they stayed together. They did beat Mike and them that year when Mike came back with the 45. And I think it gets overlooked. The very next year, the Bulls, when they Bulls won 72 games, they did sweep the Magic in the playoffs. But people forget that the Magic team was a little hurt because Horace Grant was hurt, and I believe Dennis Scott was hurt. So the Magic didn't have their full squad. But if Shaq and Penny could have stayed together, I think they would have won at least one championship.
Ronald actually got a really good question up here. I'm gonna go back on. We got a couple of comments back there. I'm gonna get to those in a minute. Did Dwight have a better Magic career than Shaq?
With the
I,
Magic, yes,
yeah, yeah. I would say yes. Obviously, Dwight Howard ain't no Shaq.
right.
You know what I'm saying? But Dwight Howard's resume is basically his tenure in Orlando. Like that's where his resume is at. All of the defensive player of the years, all of the all defensive teams, getting the team, to the finals. His all of his all NBA appearances, the first team, all of those came with the Orlando Magic. All of his rebounding titles, all of the block titles, even his his dunk contest wins came came with Orlando. So Dwight Howard definitely had the better resume than Shaq in Orlando. That's so he'll his number will definitely, or at least it should definitely be retired in the Raptors.
I think it will. It was a kind of a rough ending there with him requesting a trade, then not requesting a trade, then requesting a trade out. But ultimately, they'll remember the glory days. They're all the Defensive Player of the Year awards. He was top three MVP voting, I believe, one year as well there. So he had a great time there in Orlando, and he'll get his number retired.
Facts. We got to see Ron got one more back here that we missed. Dr. Umar says Kobe Bryant's wife has done nothing for the black community with Kobe's money. Does she have to? How does he know she hasn't? I don't know. Dr. Umar be knowing some weird information. So I don't know if I don't know how he knows. But does she have to? No. She ain't entitled to doing nothing with Kobe's money, but taking care of his children. That's it. Bottom line. Would it be nice if she did something for the black community? I don't know if she did, if she has or she hasn't, so I can't speak to that. But what I can say is she don't have to do a damn thing with her money except take care of them kids. That's it.
We got to stop pocket watching so much. Um, as you mentioned, she doesn't have to do anything for anybody with Kobe's money except take care of her family. As long as she's doing that, none of us should ever complain. In terms of, how does he know? I don't know how he knows. And it sounds like from this question that he just might be speculating just because she hasn't publicly talked about the things she's done in the black community. Also, Dr. Umar, who I like, I have no issue with him. But for him to talk about what she's done with money and not done, hasn't he been raising funds for a school for like 7 years now that's never been built? But yet he's been collecting the funds for it. So how do we know that money's even going towards where he said that money was supposed to go to? Let's stop pocket watching. Whatever she wants to do with her money, that's her family's money. That's it.
Exactly. And again, you know, we ain't in her business, so we really don't know what she's doing for the black community. And I will say this, when I was in college, my senior thesis, was on the role of the media in hip hop. And one of the things I found out through the course of doing my research was all of the things that all of these rappers were doing in the community that never get talked about. So to say what she is or isn't doing, and you don't come up with no receipts, you know what I'm saying? Like, really, it really means nothing. One, and again, two, it doesn't matter. It's her money. She can do whatever the hell she want to do with it. Like, let it go.
Again, pocket watching.
Exactly. Let me go to this one. That was actually a good battle. Shout out to Kevon. That Giannis Wimby matchup was classic. These two, when they match up, they must be on national TV. Yes, I agree. They were going at it. Ultimately, like, the Bucks got the dub, but Wimby was amazing. I think he had 5 blocks in that game, like
Hmm.
27. Giannis double double, damn near triple double. Um, Great matchup. I love it. I like watching Wimby play. It just the only thing is I don't think it's fair for the Spurs to have freaking 30 nationally televised games just based off of Wimby, and the team is so horrible.
Yeah, but that's how it goes, Trip. The people want to see the kid. He's in a small market, so you got to put him on national TV.
Yeah.
We saw the same thing when Braun first went to Cleveland. So it was a
Mhm.
great matchup. I was super impressed by Wimby because he handled the physicality about as well as he could for a rookie. Giannis tried to go at him several times, and then on the other end, he stepped up to the challenge. He was ready to be the number one option offensively for the Spurs to keep them in that game. So I think, Havon, I think you are going to see their matchups nationally televised moving forward. Again, East versus West. So they only play each other twice a year. So it won't be too difficult to get them on the Thursday night game or the Sunday marquee matchup. So I think we'll see a lot of those two on nationally televised games moving forward.
He caught Giannis too with that one and just
He caught him with that last block. But
yeah,
to me, the most impressive one when he comes down on the fast break, puts it behind his back, and then dunks it on Brooke Lopez. Like
yes.
for him to move the way he's moving and then be that comfortable handling the ball in the open court is crazy.
Mhm. Exactly. So listen, man. Shout out to Wimby. Shout out to Wimby and Chet. Their numbers are actually really close. Um,
Phenomenal.
yeah. So shout out to both of those guys. I love what Wimby's doing. I mean, like I said, I wish this team was playing a little bit better, but I don't expect much from that Spurs roster. But again, big shout out to Wimby. I do want to see them go at it again. Have we spoke about Draymond yet? I think we didn't spoke
No,
about
we have
Draymond.
it. We have
Draymond
it.
is back. It's been 12 games. He's officially back with the Golden State Warriors, and at the perfect time because they lose Chris Paul for 4 to 6 weeks with a hand injury. So any type of boost is gonna will be a help to the Warriors. Um, has he gotten his act together? Will this suspension be the last one we see Draymond get this season? Because I do believe if something else happens, he's gonna be just that's it for the year. I can't see them letting him get suspended again and come back.
Yeah, I don't see any suspension that he could possibly get that would allow him to play again. I think the league is kind of fed up with him. And I also think the Warriors are a little fed up with him too. At this point, he's got to lock in. He's got to be focused because if they want to salvage the season, they do need the best version of Draymond Green. Let's keep it a buck, especially with Chris Paul being out. And this may be a blessing for them because we've always said that we didn't think it could work with him and Draymond
Mhm.
consistently being in the lineup together. Now they'll go back to what the Warriors have always been, which is Draymond initiating offense, and maybe they'll be
Yes,
better. They played good the other night, so let's see what happens when Draymond comes back.
yes, I agree. Um. Oh, you know what? We gotta. I get at you sometimes, Eric, but we gotta give some props to your Knicks. They've been playing some really good basketball since the OG trades. I keep messing up saying Obi since the OG trade. They've won like 4 straight. Um, they dominated the 76ers, which was a big win for them. Are they championship contenders? No.
Not yet. No.
Um, but I like the addition of OG. I think him finally getting a chance to really run with the starters and have a little bit more input on the offensive end of the basketball, I think is going to really help him out. And then having a really good point guard next to you is going to be a big thing for him as well. It's going to also help him out.
Yeah, OG checked so many boxes for us. You and I text that day when the trade happened, and one of the first things I said to you, I was more hurt about losing quickly
Yeah,
because I loved his game. But it was a trade that had to happen for the Knicks to take the next step up. And again, they are not a championship contender. I'm not one of these delusional Knicks fans who are going to try to sell you on the idea of like, oh yeah, we're right. No, we're not. We're not there yet. But in order for us to take that next step up, we had to upgrade the RJ Barrett minutes. Because if you look back at his stats against the better teams in the league, too often we were getting him shooting 1 for 7 from three,
yeah,
2 for 16 for the game. And then defensively, he's not a lockdown guy. So he's a guy that a lot of perimeter teams will target. A couple years ago, Anthony Edwards even said and went at him like, oh, it's RJ Barrett. So you needed to get better defensively, which OG does. You needed to be more consistent offensively, which I think OG helps because he's a guy that you don't have to run a lot of offense for. He will stand in the corner. He will knock down that 3-point shot. He can get out in the open court. And he's a better ISO player than RJ. So I think all around he's better. But I think also what's really happened with this Knicks team, shout out to Leon Rose, because I think Leon has done a great job since he's taken over in that front office. Look at the last 2 years. The Knicks pretty much swapped out Obi Toppin, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quickly for Josh Hart, Dante DiVincenzo, and now OG Anunoby. So those are upgrades across the board in terms of minutes and caliber of player. So the Knicks are getting better. They still need probably another move or two. And I don't even think it got to be a superstar move because I just think the Knicks have really done a good job of improving their depth. So
yeah.
now they're a team that every night, they have 7 or 8 quality guys that are going to be on the floor at all times, as opposed to a top heavy team that may just have 1 or 2. I like what the Knicks are doing, and I think they got another move in them as well.
The only thing I didn't like, and I was heard about, they had to waive our guy Taj Gibson, man.
They waived them today
Yeah,
with the addition of Precious Achua, who's going to get a lot of the backup center minutes. And did I tell you I saw Taj out here in DC recently. He remembered. I think I told you he remembered that we were out there when he and I had a quick chat, and he remembered we went out there to Taj Gibson Day out there in Fort Greene. So shout out to him, and I'm sure Tibbs will keep his number ready just in case there's an injury.
I love it. I love it, man. Big shout out to Taj Gibson. If you guys haven't already, go check that archive. Y'all know we've been outside, man, but we don't care. We go where we need to go, even if that means we're gonna be in the middle of Fort Greene projects supporting the
Yes,
people.
sir.
We're gonna be out there. So check out that Taj Gibson. Eric did a great job on that interview. So definitely hit the archives to check that one out. Really quick before we leave the NBA, Giannis and Braun lead the All-Star game votes. They did the first count right now. They'll probably want to be in the captains again. They've been the captains for like the last couple of seasons. Um, Boxing news. We won't be getting Wilder Joshua on March 9th, but we will be getting Joshua Nagano on Friday on March 9th. They have officially signed to up to fight each other. Um I I don't really like it. The only thing where I'm like, I'm kind of okay with it is because I do feel like Francis Ngannou beat Tyson Fury in that fight. So I would like to see how he does in the ring with Anthony Joshua, who I don't feel like can beat Tyson Fury. So I would like to see how he does with him. But I think even with Wilder losing that fight, I still would have rather seen him fight somebody other than UFC fighter for his next fight. Like I would have rather see about it. Didn't even have to be Deontay, but Fury or Usyk or one of these other dudes in the heavyweight division, not Francis Ngannou. No disrespect to Ngannou, but I just all right, Eric, froze up there, or you just shocked at the point? All right, so Eric is having a little bit of technical difficulties, but in any event, NCAA football. While we waiting for Eric to get right from his technical difficulties, big shout out to Washington and Michigan. They will be facing each other in the national title game. Obviously, we saw Washington beat uh, Washington beat Texas, and Michigan beat my Alabama Crimson Tide. It is what it is. They'll be playing off in the facing off in the championship game. So big shout out to both of those teams. We'll talk about the winner next week. With that being said, make sure you guys are following us on all our social media. Instagram, Twitter at Real Fan Talk, Facebook.com/, Real Fans Real Talk. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to that YouTube channel, youtube.com/, For the Fans Productions. And if you're not in New York City and you can't watch us on Verizon 43 on Thursday nights from 8 to 9 p.m., don't worry. All you got to do is hit up that website, realfansrealtalk.com. Click that red button on the homepage and you can watch from anywhere in the world. Also, make sure you guys subscribe to both the Sanchez Show and the Real Fans Real Talk podcast. All right. Quick final thought. Just man, happy new year to everybody, man. Thank you guys. Thank you to the supporters for continuing to rock out with us. We plan on having a big year this year. So for myself, Trip Young, and my brother, my co-host, Eric Sanchez, aka Legend in Two Games, we up out of here. Peace.